Joel Brodsky stands by on the Super Celebrity Hotline. See, Joel, I just gave you 3 stories right there. One, you're going to be a part of because you love, because you're a part of it. But then the next 2, you're going to. I gotta just keep listening, don't I?
Yeah, I already put the browser on. I got the radio on the browser, so
that's the most
I can
important
listen
thing.
to it. Absolutely.
All right, Joel. Now, what the hell's going on here?
It's a story that has more twists and turns to it than I can't even believe. And I've seen a lot of twists and turns in this case. I got a couple. On the 19th, February 19th, I received 2 letters in the same envelope from an inmate, Adrian Gabriel, who's at the right now at Statesville, who was the cellmate of the guy who wore the wire on Drew in Menard, and got the whole murder for hire evidence on the murder for hire of Glasgow, of State's Attorney Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
And when these letters basically, not basically, but flat out state that what happened is that while he and this Antonio Smith, who's the snitch, were cellmates together.
That's a technical legal term, by the way.
Snitch, yeah.
Go ahead.
That is. I know that Joe Lopez would call them other things, but would say that while they were together at Pontiac as cellmates, they had hatched this plot to basically entrap Drew Peterson into saying that he wanted to get kill Glasgow, and they wrote a letter.
Why would 2 guys? Let me just ask you this: why would 2 guys, in your experience of dealing with criminals, does that make any sense to you that they would sit by themselves and come up with this idea?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, how would they know they were going to have access to him in the first place?
Okay, well, that's a good question. But what he found out was in talking, what Adrian Gabriel found out in talking to Antonio Smith, is that Smith knew Peterson back at Menard and had befriended him for about 6 months, and that they would actually share meals and were pretty close. So once they found that out, he says, "Well, how can we use this to our advantage?" And they came down and plot and came up with this idea of getting Drew to confess or to commit to a crime.
And Drew's been at Menard for about 2.5 years, right?
Right. Yeah. And the idea being, what they wanted is to get out, the prison, like for everybody in prison.
So who do they go to? Who does a guy go to in a situation, or do we even know in this case? Do they go to the warden of Pontiac and say, "Listen, here at the Department of Corrections, we can help you with this"? How do they get that done?
Well, no, what they did is wrote a letter to Glasgow. They got his address, actually from the prison library, and they wrote him a letter telling him, that this is what happened, and we have this idea, and we think we can get Drew to
say it again.
Yeah, to say to talk about doing this, and we want to meet with you. Drew never said it, well, at least in the first place. There was never any planning to commit to hire a hitman or do anything of that sort, until after Glasgow had wired up and the other state's attorneys had wired up this Antonio Smith and sent him back to Menard to get Drew on tape. Prior to that, there was never a plan. There was never any it
wasn't concrete in any way. It was all just sort of jailhouse talk.
At the best, it was chatting. I don't even know if that took place, but at the very best, it was just idle, chit chat. It was never any real action or planning taken.
Okay.
And so that's what happened. And then Glasgow comes in, and so does the other Randolph County State's Attorney, and and they talk to these guys. And next thing you know, about a month later, Smith is back in Menard, all wired for sound, and has to spend 3 or 4 months there before they get what they think they need, and then Drew's indicted.
How does Brodsky? You're Brodsky. How does Drew fall for this? Because as a copper, and I think it was your own words a couple of weeks ago. He's a smart criminal. I mean, he's a guy that knows how to. He's sharp. How does he fall for that? Not smell that. That
obviously is a really the one thing that bothers me about this whole thing. But I suppose from what the letters tell me, and these are very, very detailed letters. I mean, with times, dates, places, people,
So
everything.
why are they
that
writing
checks out.
you letters here?
Well, that's another good question. Well, apparently, Adrian Gabriel said that he had written Steve Greenberg back starting in October, telling him, "Hey, these guys are trying to set up Drew. Warn him so he doesn't get in trouble, and tell him what's going on." And he said he wrote 8 letters, and he made a couple of phone calls, and actually got Greenberg on the phone once and told him
Before this happened?
before Drew was indicted. Absolutely.
Maybe, but do we know before he was on tape?
Well, about the same time as he went back to Menard sometime in October. So right around the same time.
This is like a snitch on snitch crime, though, because
This is
he's
crazy.
Yeah, he's acknowledging that he was part of a conspiracy.
Well, he was, but when what he felt was that when they sent Adrian Gabriel felt, when they sent Smith over to Menard, they left him behind. So Smith was going to get the deal, and they were kind of leaving him out of it. So he felt that, well, if you're gonna not help me benefit from my idea, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into your little plot.
Joel, tell us more about these letters, because I was searching as hard as I could online to try to read them.
But I don't. But like Ro was saying, I have no idea why Greenberg didn't warn his own client. You'd think he would.
We'd have to
have
ask
a duty
him.
to do that, but he had no idea why he wouldn't.
I reached out to him today to see, and we'll hopefully get some kind of response on that. But I want to ask you more about those letters, because there was a report I saw online with the Patch, I think, newspapers, and they said that there was a claim by one of these inmates that Drew also talked about where he buried Stacy Peterson's body, Stacy being the wife who's still missing and presumed dead, but he never faced charges for.
Yeah, I mean, there's a statement. One of the letters is Antonio Gabriel saying that Antonio Smith told him that Drew Peterson told him that he put Stacy's body in Lake Michigan. Doesn't really go into just flat out says it. It doesn't go into any detail about it, but that's what it says. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea.
What else was in the letters that you could tell us about?
Wait, hold on.
Well, I mean,
3 years ago, he would have said 3. That is absolutely a lie.
Well,
that's a damnable. Now it's. I don't know if that's true. He might have done that. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Well,
not his lawyer anymore, so.
Let me put it to you this way. They had Drew's. If you remember the night that Stacy disappeared, Drew had his cell phone with him because he'd received a call from he says from Stacy, and so they were able to pick up his cell phone pings during the whole time that he was out of his house, and at no time did any of cell phone pings put him anywhere near Lake Michigan.
Right.
So
that's why they kept putting him by the CalSec channel, which is why they kept looking so closely at that, right?
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons, yeah. And so I don't think there's anything regarding Lake Michigan that's ever come up until this letter.
So if you were his attorney, what would happen now, do you think? If you think this whole thing was a setup, the murder for hire plot, he had no intention to go after Will County State's Attorney James Glasgow, where does this go?
Well, I mean, no attention. Glasgow is the one that actually, there was no plot until Glasgow created it. But what I would do is, first thing you want to do is get all the documents that Adrian Gabriel, said he has. Of course, now the IDOC has raided Gabriel's cell and taken all the papers. I hope they haven't destroyed them. That would be something.
No, now he's back to being a criminal defense attorney. They would have destroyed the evidence. Here's the other piece of this too, is that you do have these two guys, Gabriel or Smith. I mean, neither of them seem like choir boys, and neither of them seem like they got a whole lot of credibility. It'd be a tough jury case. It sounds like to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, but obviously with Smith, he doesn't have to worry about his Antonio Smith doesn't have to worry about his credibility. It's on tape. But Adrian Gabriel, I mean, there's going to be documents that back up his story. The letter to Glasgow, all this stuff would have to be.
Can he get popped for some sort of an interference thing, for
obstruction of justice?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's not illegal to tell somebody don't commit a crime. I mean, to say to somebody's lawyer, "Hey, tell your client that he shouldn't commit a crime," is an obstruction. It may not be what they wanted, but it's certainly not obstruction of justice.
And then, before we let you go, if at this point, what are these guys in for?
Well, I'm pretty. Smith has a aggravated battery and controlled substance rap sheet that goes back to 1991. He's probably spent most of the last years since 1991, and one are penitentiary or another.
And this other guy?
And Gabriel's got a hate crime / rape conviction.
Oof.
Going back to when he about 15 years ago.
When could either of them get out? Do you know?
Well, my understanding is that Smith is already out. He's in witness protection, and Gabriel's still got at least another couple decades to do. So.
Oh boy! All right, Joel. Very interesting stuff. Always is with you, pal.
It's always well. It's not just me. It's